Discovering Asian dramas back in 2018 was an enlightening moment for me, and I've never looked back. I enjoy talking about them just as much as watching them. So much so that I decided to create a podcast with a heavier focus on Chinese dramas, but passing through Korean, Japanese, Thai, and Filipino dramas. Welcome to the Tea and Soju Asian Drama Podcast, your corner for drama talking. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Tea and Soju Asian Drama Podcast. I'm your host, Liliana, and this week's episode is probably going to be a shorter one, and it's a bit of a mixed bag because I was thinking about doing or wanting to do like some sort of challenge, like drama challenge for the year, just because I thought it'd be fun. And I think the one that I came up with is probably going to be a quite attainable one. I'll get more into that in a little bit. But also, there's been some stuff happening for the podcast and for myself, and I thought I'd do like a little, not update, but like a little news sort of thing that's happening with the podcast, which I think will be really exciting, and more like what have you got to look forward to in the upcoming 2023 when it comes to the Tea and Soju podcast. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy today's episode, and let's get into it. And I think that's probably the shortest intro I have ever done, and I feel like I need to pat myself on the back for that. But yes, let's get into one. So what I've come up with is basically what I'm going to be calling my on hold challenge, and I'll explain. So last year I wanted to do like a drama challenge, and there was a couple of things, like I think I started the 12 dramas by 12 friends drama challenge, which basically meant that you were having like 12 people, whether it be friends or like followers on social media or whichever it may be, choose like 12 dramas for you. And although that worked well enough, I got really good suggestions. I actually felt really, really bad that I didn't finish that, challenge. And I think one of the reasons was, life just got in the way. And sometimes, I'm watching so many on-air dramas that it's really, really hard to finish a completed drama all in one go. So I kind of think made it through 5 months of it, and then kind of didn't go back to the rest of the challenge. And I felt really, like I said, I felt really bad about it. And I was thinking, this reminds me of something, of like starting something but not finishing it. And then I remembered I have a bunch of dramas on my hold list, and I feel like that's where my dramas go to kind of like almost to die. Like I put them on hold because, I've gotten busy, or most of the time it's because shinier dramas call out to me and I'm like, oh yes, please, I want to, start that one. And then yes, please, I want to start that one, because there might be months where there's, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 Chinese dramas that I really, really want to check out. Not that that's the case in terms of how many they bring out. I think I was counting. I think December was like 20 something dramas, if not more. I can't remember. December was a crazy month for Chinese Dramaland. But I was like, sometimes I'm watching so many on air that then the completed one gets pushed to the side. And I thought, but there are some months where I actually, fumbling around for what to watch. And I thought, well, what if I just make it a little bit of a challenge, and I want to try and get to the end of the year with a clear on-hold list, like no dramas. And by that doesn't mean I'm going to watch every single drama that's on my on-hold list, but But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to them, give them a couple of episodes and see if I'm really enjoying them. If I am, I'm going to finish them and rate them. If I'm not, then they will move from my on hold list to my dropped list. And I feel like that's going to be quite a challenge in itself. Because I think all of them on there are dramas that I really do want to check out and finish. So I'm hoping that I can do this and I thought it'd be fun. Actually, no, let me tell you the truth. I thought it would be a great point to start to tell you guys on the podcast episode and make it into a series on the podcast. And I feel like that's going to make me hold myself accountable. And if I don't, you guys will. Please hold me accountable for not, getting through this challenge, because I feel like that's going to work better. It's going to encourage me to finish these dramas, especially because I know for sure that one of my friends is going to be down at me because there is one drama that's on my on hold list, and it has been on my on hold list for months and months and months. I think maybe from the first quarter of 2022 it's been on my on hold list, but I really do want to get back to it. And she really, really enjoys the drama, so I feel like she's going to be like, how do you still have this drama on hold? How have you not finished it? So yeah, in today's episode, I'm basically just gonna go through the dramas that are on hold, the ones, that I do have on hold currently. And then I am going to basically tell you what episode I'm up to. And I feel like throughout the year, I'm just going to do an episode here and there where I basically, go back to this and let you know which ones are finished, if I finished them, how, do mini reviews on the ones that I finished, and let you know, if I've dropped any, if I've gone back, checked them out and not gotten into them, so drop them. So I feel like this can be quite a fun series to do. And I'm just wondering, have you looked in your on hold lists? And if so, how are they looking? Because honestly, I honestly feel like my on hold list is where dramas go to die. And I want to change that, because I've put them, if I haven't I'm not the type of person who I was initially, in the beginning, I would not drop anything. And I think that's very much a curse of being a new K-drama watcher or a new Chinese drama watcher, or, just a new in general to Asian dramas, is that everything's so new and fascinating and you just want to watch it all. So even if you're watching something that's not quite as good, you still really, really, really just want to get through it and get to the end because you think it might get better. And because I think at that point, even as newly, discovered watchers, we don't necessarily know at the beginning, what we're going to like and what we're not necessarily going to like. So I feel like we get into the trap of, I'll just watch a couple more episodes. Oh, no, I couldn't drop it. So at the beginning, I would watch anything and I would drop nothing. But as the more years I watch, I think we're going into almost. So I started in watching in 2018. So it's been 4 or 5 years since I've started watching. So yeah, 4 years going into my 5th year, and I've gotten way, way better at dropping things. I am not that unhappy that if I check out a drama, and I can pretty much sort of tell. I usually like Korean dramas for a standard 16 episode, which seems to be getting rarer and rarer because, K-dramas are being split and turned into seasons and whatnot. But for a standard 16 episode, I tend to give it 4 episodes. And I feel like that's a good indication of whether I'm going to, like it or not. And I think for Chinese dramas, I tend to give them a heck of a lot more because they're just longer in terms of episodes anyways. So, sometimes 8 episodes, sometimes even less. Like, sometimes I'll try a drama, and on the first episode, I'm like, I can't. It's not working for me, and I don't want to. And I think a lot of the time that happens because I think I've mentioned it. Well, I know I've mentioned it before, but I'm very much a mood watcher. So I need to be in the mood for that drama. And a lot of the time, it isn't the drama, it's me that's not in the mood to watch it at that precise time. So when that tends to happen, I tend to put that on the on hold list more so than the dropped. And I think mainly because I feel like, I want to get back to this episode, to the drama. So yeah, that's, why I thought I really, really, really just wanted to do a fun drama challenge and basically get to the end of the year without anything on my on hold list. And then I can be like happy and proud that at least one of my lists is clear because, my currently watching is always long. My plan to watch is even longer. I can't even. There's so many dramas on my plan to watch, and they're all like not aired dramas. I think I've got a couple in there that I have aired, but for the most part, they are dramas that haven't aired yet at all. So yes, that's why I decided to come up with this. And it literally came from the fact that last year I did that drama challenge and didn't finish it and felt really sad for not doing it. And then I was like, this is exactly what my on hold list is. It's dramas that I started but didn't finish, and I feel kind of bad that they're just sitting there. So let's go through the dramas that I do have on hold, and then you guys can let me know if you've watched any of these, which one should I put first. I feel like I want to put a poll up like on my Insta stories or something and like just list these. I don't know if they allow this many options, but we shall see. Hopefully they do. And I'm going to put these up on like an Instagram poll, and you guys can go and vote for whether like which one I should get back to first. So yeah, let's start. So the first one I've got on my on hold list is a Chinese drama, and it is a cold. Well, I am cold. It's chilly in the UK, but I meant called Falling Into You. And that's starring Gina Jin and Wang Anyu. And basically, like, the premise for this drama is, if you haven't watched it yet, it's basically like, as MDL describes it, it's Duan Yu Chang has only had one dream, become a world-class high jumper. But like, so that's his dream, that's our male lead played by Wang Anyu, and he doesn't quite qualify for that because he's not tall enough, I believe. And I'm just pulling from my memory of the couple of episodes that I have watched. And basically he meets oh my God, I can't talk today. I can't form thoughts clearly. He meets a coach called Lu Na, and she basically like believes in him. And it's the story of them like going through their journey and then also obviously falling in love and whatnot. That is a very, 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 very quick rundown of that, drama. But I think I got to episode 5 on that. And it's a 26 episode drama. So I actually have heard really good things about this one. I've heard that like the chemistry is really, really good, and that the scenes between our main couple like later on in the drama are spicy and goodness. And I really do want to get back to this one. And I think at the time I put it on hold because I can't remember which other drama was airing alongside this one. But I very, very, very much got into that and then got completely sidetracked and got behind. And I will tell you, right, this is a very me thing. I don't know if anybody else is like this. Probably not, because I think this is, a me and my brain thing. So whenever I'm watching on-air dramas, I love it, right? Because you get to chat about them as you're watching them and everybody's got like the same information at the same point. So I really, really enjoy watching on air dramas. But if I get behind on them, oh my God, I cannot. For some reason, I feel like I fall behind a couple of episodes and I feel like I'm never going to catch up. So I start watching other stuff instead of watching, what I should be catching up on. And this happens to me more often than not. So I try really hard to not get, too behind on dramas that I'm currently watching. So, yeah, I feel like this is what happened to this one. And it's actually got an 8.4 on MDL. So that's pretty good. So, yeah, this is definitely one I do want to get back to. The next one is a Korean one, and it's a short drama. And I'm not sure whether I do want to get back to it or not. But it's called User Not Found, and it stars Bae Jin Yang, Shin So Hyun, and Han Yi Ji. And basically, it's a case of mistaken identity. Like, this girl transfers schools, and she gets mistaken for this very much popular rich girl. So everybody's like super nice to her and whatnot. Because they think she's, that girl. And then turns out that, the same girl is coming in to attend the school that she's at. And that's, I think, more or less the episode I've gotten to. Yeah, because I've only watched 3 episodes of this one. And they are short ones. They are about 15 minutes each. I can't remember why I put this one on hold. I think I was watching it like as a lunchtime one. And then my lunch times just kind of changed. So I don't really have the time to sort of watch anything at lunchtime anymore, which makes me a little sad, but it is what it is. So I think that got pushed to the side because of that. And then I never went back to it. And I'm like, do I want to? I'm not sure. This one, like, Falling Into You is one that I definitely want to get back to. But User Not Found, I'm not sure. It's got a 7.8 on MDL. So I don't know whether I do want to get back to it or not. But, I definitely, it's on the on hold list. So I might go back, check out a couple of episodes, see if it's for me, and if not, let it go. Have you watched this one? I'm wondering, I don't think I know anybody that has watched this one, but maybe I do, and I just, haven't really spoken about it. So that one is also on the list. Next up, and oh my God, I'm going to get... I don't even know how this is on my on hold list. Actually, I probably do. It's because I got so busy and I was watching a couple of on-air dramas and I just didn't have the time to slip this one in. But I for sure will get back to this one. And that is the Chinese drama, The Rational Life. And that stars Chin Lan and Wang Hedi. And I want to go back and watch a bunch of Wang Hedi's work, and I've heard this one is a pretty good one. I have a friend of mine and she binged the heck out of this one. She really, really enjoyed it. So that gives me, well enough knowledge to know that I will probably very much enjoy it once I get into it. And I think I only watched 2 episodes, so I'm really, really not that far into it. I do want to. I just literally ran out of time and couldn't, fit it in. But this is one of those that I definitely want to get back to. So yeah, I'm not sure when, but it is on the on hold list, and this will definitely probably get completed. So we shall see. So yeah, this one is kind of like a romance noon. It's not. I need to find a Chinese word for this. Actually, I do really want to find what is the equivalent of Nooner in China, because I feel like I should use that when I'm talking about Chinese dramas. And I keep forgetting to check it or Google it or try and figure out. I have a friend who speaks fluent Mandarin, so I might just ask her and see if she knows what the term is for like Nuna, but in Chinese. But that's what this is. It's like a business romance drama. It's a lot set in the corporate world, and Wang Keidi's character basically comes in and is working for Qin Lan, our female lead's character. That's the actress's name. I can't even remember what the characters are called. This is how, because I didn't get very far into it. But yeah, so basically the male lead comes into the office. He's a younger male lead, and he basically comes to work for a female lead who's in a higher position, and basically like a romance sort of ensues. And I think that is very, very like this, like the complete tip of the iceberg for this drama. So, but yeah, I definitely want to get back into this one because, it's Wang Keidi and I want to get back into his dramas. So, yeah. Next up on my on hold list is the drama The Blue Whisper, Part 1. I haven't even gotten to Part 2. But this one I definitely want to get into because it's Xianxia and I love it. I don't know why. Oh, I do remember this drama. I remember exactly why it's on my on hold list. So basically, when this came out, this was a Youku production, right? And when it came out, they didn't sub it for some reason. I think it's because they must have given the rights to somebody else, or I don't know what happened. But basically, Youku did not release it for international fans. And if they did release it, I know there was no subs anywhere. I think that was the thing when it came out, when this drama came out, there was no subs anywhere. So I really wanted to watch it, but couldn't because no subs. And unfortunately, I do not speak Chinese or Mandarin or, any version of it. So I can't watch dramas without, subtitles. So I was so sad because all of the promo for this looked really, really good. And it's, like I said, The Blue Whisper Part 1 and then there's Part 2. But it stars Dilraba and Ren Jialan. And it's set in a fantasy world, obviously, and the Ren Jialan plays a mermaid, and our female lead Dilraba plays like a disciple of a clan. And I found this really, really interesting. I think I've watched 7 or 8 episodes, and I have found it really, really interesting that in this case, yes, the male lead is quite powerful, but he's trapped, so there's not a lot he can do. But the female lead, she's quite cunning and smart. So I really, really love to see that, because a lot of Xianxia dramas, you start, at least the ones that I've watched, a lot of the time you start with our female lead pretty, weak compared to the male lead, and she's, not that she's still pretty immature. That's the typical start for a female lead in a Xianxia drama, and I feel like this one was kind of different because that's not the case. In this, she's pretty smart. She's well established within her sect. There's, quite a lot of things going on. So I definitely want to get back to this one. Again, a friend of mine finished it and she really enjoyed it. So I definitely will get back to this one. Now, the next one is a bit of a wild card, and I'm not sure. This is probably this one and User Not Found are probably the two that I am very much not sure whether I'll actually complete it or not. And that is the Chinese drama Believe in Love. So it came out last year. And I started watching it, but again, I think it's probably one of those cases where I just really got busy with other dramas and then ended up putting this one to the side. And basically, I can't even remember a lot that, happened. I've watched how many episodes? 6 episodes. But I cannot remember barely anything that happened in this one. So I'm like thinking, I don't think that's a good, that's a good omen in general, because all the other ones, I kind of remember what I watched enough that I would happily just jump back into them. But this one, I can't even quite remember. But the MDL description says, Lu Yu Ah is a cute 17-year-old girl, city girl who is hardworking, courageous, and kind. She is also optimistic, responsible, and easygoing. Yu Ah has strong principles for which she isn't afraid to suffer for, and is as tenacious as wild grass. Is as tenacious, I think you say it tenacious, as wild grass. Hu Yi Nan is the handsome 20-year-old lord of Hu Jian. While popular among the people, he has a hidden dark side. On a small island with good food and civilization, the owner of the noodle restaurant, Lu Yu Ah, has been oppressed by her stepmother since she was a child, but she still maintains a positive and optimistic attitude and treats others kindly. Due to family reasons and the pursuit of Hu Yinan, the owner of Hu Jian Island, she was confused and married Hu Yinyan. But she didn't expect that Hu Yinan, who has been chasing after her, actually had a strong purpose. The will of his parents was that Hu Yinan had to marry Liu Yu'er before inheriting the island. After learning that she had been used by Hu Yinan, Liu Yu'er chose to believe in Hu Yinan and continued to live with him. In the end, with the help of others, finally knew that the person he loved. Oh my God, what a messy, God, that is a messy. I basically know the whole story clearly from this, well, if you haven't watched Believe in Love, now you basically know the whole plot to it. Spoiler alert, a bit late, but I didn't know that. I had not. See, this is what happens when I don't read MDL descriptions before I just start telling you guys. But I'm just going to leave that in because I don't think this is the kind of drama where you turn your head off to watch it. So I don't feel like, it's kind of expected. A lot of the things that are going to happen in it are kind of expected. But yeah, it is ringing a bit of a bell now. And I still can't believe it that I watched 6 episodes and I don't quite remember that much that happened in it. So that may be a one that'll end up on the dropped list. But it is on my on hold list right now. So, as per my made up rules for this challenge, I will give it another episode or 2 and then decide whether it's going to stay there or, I will finish it and move it to my finished list, or I will drop it altogether. You're going to have to find out on the next update on my on hold challenge where it's gone. But yeah, that's Believe in Love. Next up, now, the last 2, I bet loads of people are going to be shouting at me, like, how are these 2 dramas on your on hold list and they haven't been finished? But nonetheless, they are currently on my on hold list. But I feel like both of them are 2 that I really, really do actually want to finish. First one of those being the Korean drama Through the Darkness, and that's starring Kim Nam-gil, Jin Son-kyu, and Kim So-jin. And I don't know why I put this on hold. I think it wasn't available anywhere at the beginning, I believe. I may be wrong. I actually really cannot remember why I put this on hold. It's probably because it's a thriller, and thrillers for me, I have to be in the right mood for them. Like, there's rom-com or even fantasy or anything like that I can sort of put to the side and switch my brain off and kind of watch them regardless of my mood. But when it comes to like thrillers or anything like that, I really do have to be in the right mood for them, and I'm not always in that mood. So I think probably I must have put it to the side, either because it was like a little bit harder to find when it came out. I really do think that's the case. I do think it wasn't available anywhere. I might be lying, but I can't quite remember. And yeah, I definitely want to get back into this one. I think I only made it like maybe 1 episode or maybe two episodes. So I got to episode 2. I feel like this is one that I might have to go back and begin from episode 1 again, just because I don't want to miss miss out any detail that might like bring the story together for me. So yeah, I really do want to get back to this one. And like I said, I know there's lots of people that are going to be like, what are you doing? Why haven't you watched this one? Or why haven't you finished watching this one? But it is what it is. I feel like I said, there's a couple that I do really, really, really want to finish. And that will probably be Falling Into You, The Rational Life, Blue Whisper probably is also on that list. And like I said, Through the Darkness is definitely on that list. Like, I really do want to finish that one off. And then, lastly on the on hold list. And like I said, there's not that many actually. Thinking about it, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dramas on my on hold list. So that's not too bad. I have had it where I've had like a way larger number than that on there. And I feel like I've been better at moving them, like thinking, do I really want this on hold or is it just a dropped? And a lot of them I've just, put to the dropped list, and these 7 are kind of like the ones that are definitely on hold because I do want to get back to them. But also in general, like I want, part of this challenge is that, I don't put those dramas on hold. I either carry them through and finish them off, or I drop them. Because I feel like, I really do, I feel like dramas on my on hold list, I kind of like forget that they're there. It's almost like the invisible list of sorts, because I think, I'll put it on the hold, and then like I'll come back to it a little bit later, and then I never do. And they just kind of like sit there. So I'm hoping that this challenge kind of also makes me think really hard whether I do want to put something on there, or if I'm not enjoying it and I just need to drop it altogether, or, whatever it may be. So, the last one. And I know exactly why this is still on here, and that would be the drama Prison Playbook, and that's starring Park Hae-soo and Jang Kyung-ho. And I really want to watch this one. And the reason why is because I believe this is the same screenwriter that did Reply. Yeah, the same screenwriter that did Reply 1988. And now I loved Reply 1988 when I got to like the second half of it. Like the first half, I still was like saying, I don't understand why this is so beloved. Like, I don't understand. And so it took me a really long time to get into, this drama. And actually, funnily enough, Reply 1988 was part of my drama challenge last year, and it was one of the ones that I did complete. But I also find that these episodes are so long. They're over like an hour 20 or something like that. They are really, really long. 92 minutes. So like an hour and a half more like. And that's really long. I struggle with episodes that are that long, and I feel like this year that's something I want to try and do. Like maybe watch half an episode and then like watch the other half like later on or a different day. And I feel like that may work a little bit better than me sitting there for an hour and a half just for like one episode. I feel like that's so long, but also I've heard such good things about this drama, and coming from, the writers of Reply 1988, I am way more than willing to give it like a good few more minutes, a good few more episodes, because with Reply 1988 it took me so long to get into it that, but by the end of it I absolutely loved it. So I feel like this may follow the same course, Prison Playbook may follow the same course for me, where I might struggle to get into it at the beginning, but actually when I come around to it, I think I will really, really enjoy it, because this writer, I feel like, because it's the same writer as Hospital Playlist, so her episodes are always really, really long. I don't know if it's the screenwriter or the director or what it is, but these episodes are always really long for her dramas, at least the ones that I've watched. And I feel like, that is hard to work for me, just because I don't necessarily like long episodes. And And I know there's people out there that are, the same. They don't necessarily like the longer episode format. But I feel like she writes really, really good relationships between characters. So I do want to get back into this one for sure. That is it. That is the 7 that I currently have on hold that I will definitely be checking out and like going back into them and deciding whether they're going to be dropped or completely, or I'm going to finish them completely. And then, like I said, I will probably come back in a few months' time and just like do a little update and let you guys know. Hopefully, I'm really hoping that like I would have cleared a couple of these off this list, and if not, if nothing else, I'm hoping I haven't added anything else to on the hold list. That is the plan. Whether I will stick to that plan or not remains to be seen. Now, I'm curious, like, what are your on hold lists? I'd love to know. So please do let me know, message me on socials or email or whatever. I always leave all of that stuff linked in the description notes, and it's always also linked like on my link tree on Instagram. So do come and chat to me about that, because I would love to know if you're up for taking this challenge as well and clear like at least one of our lists will be clear by the end of the year. I feel like that's going to be such an achievement when I get to the end of the year, hopefully, and like this list is empty, and I'm going to be so excited for that, because I'm like, at least one list is completely empty. Yeah, we shall see. I'm hoping like some of you guys join in on this with me as well, because I think it'll just be fun. And also, like I said, you guys can then hold me accountable for actually doing what I said I'm doing. I feel like by turning this into a segment on the podcast, it will, encourage me way more to actually go through with it than if I was just doing it by myself. So I'm hoping that's the case. That's it for that section of this episode. Like I said, this is like a really random episode. I've been feeling a little bit under the weather. So I was like, when I was sitting down to do this planning for this week's episode, I was like, I'm not feeling too great, so I don't want to like review anything or go into anything any deeper, just simply because I'm not feeling that great and that might affect the episode overall. So I thought I'll just do a really nice, chill, laid back episode. So that's why this is so random and, a little bit all over the place. But then again, that's just the theme of that go with my episodes anyways. But I'm hoping you guys at least still enjoy it. And so for the last little segment of this episode, I just have some news for the podcast and in general. And the first one up is a couple of people had sort of asked, and I wasn't sure whether I was going to do it or not, but I ended up deciding that I did, and I opened up a Patreon. And basically what I put on there, I haven't put a lot on there yet. That's going to be like my focus for the next couple of months, not to take away from the main podcast. The main podcast is still very much my baby, so to speak, like my little, main project. But I wanted to open up a Patreon and like just do some extra content, because sometimes I end up watching stuff that isn't quite enough for episodes on the main podcast. I tend to try and get my episodes to about an hour or so, sometimes more if it's, a longer review or whatnot. But I feel like an hour is a good sort of like length for a podcast episode. But I watch a lot of like web dramas, and I felt like some of them I just wanted to review them. But obviously when I'm doing reviews for those, they're only about 20 minutes each, maybe sometimes half an hour. But they won't be, much longer than that. So I thought it'd be fun to put that on Patreon, as well as stuff like, movie reviews. And I am not that great at writing. I'm simply not. But I am pretty good. Well, I I say I'm pretty good. I am not too shabby, I would say, at just basically sitting in, my little recording corner and just opening up my recording app and talking into my microphone. So I feel like that just works really well for me. So that's why I wanted to do these like mini reviews. I've got a couple up there already, but also I'm going to be posting on there like polls to get so you guys can choose like future and upcoming episodes. So yeah, that is Patreon. It's just something, I don't know. I don't even know if anybody's going to join. Actually, I do have a couple of people who have joined, so I'm going to give them a shout out now. I don't know if I should do it now or at the end of the episode. I'll do it now. So yeah, currently I have 3 Patreons on there, and I'd love to give them a huge shout out because they basically joined even when I wasn't posting anything at all. They just kind of went in, and I feel like I appreciate that so much, that they'd support me and my journey and like my, there's just the podcast in general, that they would sign up even though there was not, anything on there or at all. There is a couple of things now, and like I said, going forward, I'll be posting way more on there. So yeah, I just feel like incredibly, actually I can't even talk, incredibly thankful that they've come and joined me on Patreon, and that is Marta, Purple Dinosaur, and R. And I thank you guys, honestly. I feel it's such, I don't even know how to explain it, but just the fact that you guys wanted to support me in this journey, it's just a little project that I have on the side. But it is like, I think when you're podcasting, and I feel like a lot of fellow podcasters, will agree with this, that it is like a labor of love. And when people kind of like accept it and like come and chat to you, or, comment on your stuff, or, highly even when they go on Patreon and kind of like support you on that journey, I just feel like it's so crazy and wild to look back and think that like August last year, not before that, because that's when I first released my first episode, but way before that, when I first started, dreaming up of the idea of doing a Asian drama podcast with like a heavy focus on Chinese dramas, I had not the slightest clue that I would get to build relationships with people and with just online and through the podcast with fellow podcasters that I've been chatting to way more now than I ever did before. So yeah, I just feel really proud of like what's happening around the podcast and the people that I get to talk to and the people that I get to meet through it. So yeah, all of that jarble out of the way. But yeah, I just really wanted to thank these 3 people because they know who they are. And yeah, I will, if anyone else does join, they will get a little shout out as well, because I just feel like anytime anyone joins, it's just like a little, I do a little party for myself, because I just feel like it's such an honor to have anybody kind of like join your Patreon. So yeah, that's Patreon. I'll leave that linked in the description if you guys want to check it out. But yeah, that's just going to be extra on top of the main podcast. I'm just going to do mini reviews on there, but you'll have polls and early access to certain stuff as well, like my notes and all of that. So yeah, I hope you guys will check that out. Also, I am so excited about this, guys, because this started in January, but I feel like I haven't mentioned that it's going to happen, but it is, and I feel so excited for it. So basically, I have been sort of like gathering almost like guests for the podcast, and I hope that I can release, one every month or one every 2 months or something like that. But I am very excited because I have the chance to sit down with some fellow podcasters in that, like, their podcasts are geared towards Asian dramas. And I am so excited to do this because I feel like a lot of the time it's just me sitting down, and recording. But when I have a guest in, it kind of like offers a different perspective, and I think it can lead to really, really interesting conversations, which are not only way great for me to record and, record and talk to the guests, but also I feel like it's great to listen to. So, like I said, that started in January with the New Life Begins episode, where I had K-Drama Jen come in and sit down. Well, not come in because she's on the other side of the world, but we zoomed and chatted about New Life Begins, and I loved it. I had so much fun, and I think I didn't say anything about it because it was my first one, and I was a little bit nervous about it. Like, I was hoping everything was going to go okay, and it went way better than I thought it would. I felt like I was just sitting with a friend chatting about something that we both loved, and that's so exciting. So yeah, there is a few already planned and in the works, and I'm so excited to not only like sit down and record these, but then like release them to you guys, because I feel like I'm gonna have the honor and like pleasure to have really interesting conversations. And that's another thing that sure, I would have been able to have those conversations, but I don't think I would have quite the courage that I do now, that I'm like asking, people to come in and sit, chat with me for the podcast. I feel like, I've sort of bridged, that gap, and kind of like enjoy doing that a lot more now. So I'm so excited to release these to you guys. I feel like it's going to be great. I feel like that is going to be probably one of my favorite series that I do on the podcast. It's going to be like the guest series, just because I think it's going to lead to some really, really interesting conversations. So I hope you guys enjoyed that part as well, and you can have that to look forward to. And lastly, there is a little change that I'm going to do to my currently watching episodes. I've been a little bit inconsistent with them, but I feel like I want to get them like pinned down, because that's one of my favorite episodes to listen to in other podcasts, like especially the Certified Noonas. Like, I love what we're currently watching episodes. I just really enjoy it. I don't know why, because I always end up adding way more dramas to my currently watching, but it's one of my favorite episodes to listen to. So, yes, there's a couple of changes that I just want to do to my currently watching. So every last episode of the month, so every last Wednesday of the month, that's going to be the currently watching episode. And I've been playing around with the format of it for a little bit, just like trying to figure out what will work best. And I finally kind of like pinned down how I want to do my currently watching. And basically what's going to happen is I will obviously go through what I'm currently watching in the format of like the lists that you've already heard before. Those lists always change. They might be, the main core, headers will stay, like my absolutely loving, my enjoying, those kind of categories always stay. But I tend to add in like, crazy one-liners sometimes that will belong to a single drama sort of category. So yeah, that will still stay the same. But I will then, at the end of the episode, I will close out that episode with basically the dramas that I kind of finished over, the last month or so. And if I've really enjoyed them, just give like a very, very, very brief mini review alongside with like my MDL score. And I feel like I want to do it that way because there's a lot of dramas that I won't ever get to talk about because there's simply not enough time, or, I enjoyed them, but there's not enough there for me to go and do a full blown out review, or even like a mini review for Patreon, whichever it may be. But I still want to like mention them. So I feel like that this is, the perfect little place to slot that into. And I feel like it goes well with the currently watching because, hand in hand, you will know from month to month, like what I've been watching and like in the next sort of 4 weeks or 8 weeks, whichever it happens to land on, I can like give you a little update of, you know, whether I fully watched it or dropped it or whatever happened. So yeah, that's it. I will still, so I think like in the last couple of currently watching, I was doing the what came out in the last month for Chinese dramas. Now I feel like doing that in the episode can maybe come a lot across as me just like reading a lot of it, which is what I'm doing. And I feel like, you know, sometimes that list is useful, but probably me just rambling, you'll probably forget about it anyways. So I will still do that list, but I will turn it into a Instagram post as well as a blog post. So that every month when that episode comes out, a week after, or, you know, just at the beginning of the month, probably, you know, end of the month, beginning of the next month, I will post up with and then I get to post it with like the posters and everything. So I feel like it'll work a lot better for that. So you'll still have access to that, you know, all of the, you know, the dramas that kind of preview that came out in the last month. You'll still have access to that, you know, that list. It's just that I won't be reading it on the currently watching. I will just be posting it on Instagram and the blog. So yeah, I think that is it for this episode. That's like the little news that I've had. So yeah, I know this is a bit chaotic and it's a lot me just like sort of sitting and like, I feel like I'm just having a chat with you guys today. That was kind of like today's episode where I just sort of sit and have a little chat. We're back to normal next week. Actually, next week happens to be the sort of like last Wednesday of the month, so it will be the newly formatted currently watching list for next week, so you guys get to hear that in full glory next Wednesday. I hope you guys have enjoyed this drama, and now I'm gonna make a cup of tea because it is like -3 in the UK. I'm freezing. I am not built for this weather. So yeah, I hope that the weather and life is treating you well in your corner of the world, and I'll see you next week for more Asian drama chatter. This has been another episode of the Tea and Soju Asian Drama Podcast. I'm your host, Liliana, and you can come and chat to me on Instagram at Tea and Soju Pod, all one word, and on Twitter, tea_soju_pod. You can also email me at teandsojupodcast@gmail.com. Lastly, if you enjoy this podcast, please help by rating and reviewing wherever you listen to help others find this drama corner. I'll leave everything linked in the description notes. See you next time for more Asian drama chatter.